My name is Miss Jessie. I'm a Youth Services Librarian here at the Clinton-Macomb Public Library, and today I'm here to talk to you about graphic novels. We are going to talk about different kinds of graphic novels and some of the things to look for when you're reading a graphic novel, and then we will sort of talk about ways to create your own. I enjoy graphic novels very much. I've read several children's. I read YA and adult graphic novels. There are a variety of different kinds. I'd like to start with talking about manga. If you'll notice, and I'll hold this up for comparison, the book looks like it's backwards. The biggest manga is a Japanese graphic novel. It's the style, as far as the illustrations go, is a little different. You'll see most of the time they will be in black and white, and the art style is a little different in the line work. Graphic novels are also read, so graphic novel here is read from left to right, just like a traditional book. Manga is read right to left. So when you look at a manga book, it looks like the cover is not on the right way, but in reality it really is. It's just that's the style of book. So these are very popular. We have them in all age groups. This is just one example. Next I'm going to sort of talk about some of the more popular graphic novels in our library. Dog Man by Dave Pilkey is a very popular series. This would be considered sort of an earlier graphic novel, meaning that it's for an earlier reader. And you'll notice that because the text is a little larger and there's fewer words on a page. A lot of the components are all the same. For example, when you see a line moving from this bubble here, that means that this is a text bubble and this is what the character is saying. And then later on you can find there's a way to decipher, and usually the reader picks up on this on their own. There will be somewhat of a 3 dots, which means that it's a thought bubble. All graphic novels sort of, well, first of all, the illustrations are in any book that is illustrated is just as important as the text itself. Especially for a young reader, it's wonderful because you'll have the text, but then the reader can look at the illustration and notice that even here, for example, the character looks sad. So whatever this person is saying is either upsetting, or maybe they're consoling this person, or this character, but this character is actually a cat. So that way the reader can make those comprehension connections with the text and the illustration that will also allow the reader to make predictions on what could potentially happen next. This is one of the reasons I recommend graphic novels a lot to our young readers, because there's branching over from picture books or easy readers into graphic novels is a great branch because it builds a lot of confidence. Most graphic novels are also written based on topics that kids are really interested currently. Raina Telgemeier is a very popular graphic novel author and illustrator. She has several of her books are based on some of her personal experiences as a child, and you'll notice the difference between her books and Dog Man is the text is a little smaller, and on some pages you'll see a lot more words, or not, but the text is a little bit smaller, so it might be for a little bit older of a reader, but we definitely see kids going back and forth between both books. Another one I would like to discuss is some of the adaptations we've seen from are larger series in fiction that have been transformed into graphic novels. And I love this because, you know, you might not want to read that large series. You would rather read a graphic novel and see the illustrations. You might be more of a visual person and enjoy that part of actually seeing the book. You'll see you can see a big difference between this graphic novel and Dog Man, because the drawings are different. They're not as bubbly like a cartoon in Dog Man. The text is much smaller, and you're going to get a lot more words in those word bubbles. So that being said, one thing I would really like to talk about and pay attention to is different elements of a graphic novel and what makes a graphic novel so unique. So when you're reading a graphic novel, you have to pay attention to, first of all, you're reading each panel. First, you're reading the panel, then you're looking at the picture. You're looking at the facial expressions. You're looking at the sounds that are being made. And these are making all those connections in your brain, which actually requires more brain power when you're looking and making these connections than just reading the text. So when you're creating your own graphic novel, it's important to include these elements so that the reader can understand the sounds that the story is making and how the characters are feeling. You'll notice here her eyes. Now that, and then you'll also see the drawings on the side. That would probably indicate that she's a little scared. So you'll see here that it appears that she is stepping on something. So those are all important elements of a graphic novel, what makes a graphic novel so unique. And when you're creating your own graphic novel, these are parts that you want to carry over and making sure that the reader understands exactly what's going on. So next I'm going to sort of talk about the supplies that you're going to need for your graphic novel, and then I'll just go through a very brief tutorial on what I'm going to allow you to be, you have the freedom to make your own creation. I am not a great artist. I wish that I was. I do try, but just for purposes of this video, I'll explain sort of what you're going to do and then allow you to sort of have the freedom to do it yourself at home. But I will go through some of the supplies that you are going to need. We included a packet with this program. It is going to include a graphic novel instruction sheet. So in the instruction sheet, this is sort of a storyboard. It's going to allow you to brainstorm up to the point where you start creating your graphic novel. And then from there, we have our cover page. So you're going to actually fold this in half. Oh, sorry, not folding for me. There we go. So there's your cover, and then on the back is, you can fill in, make up some type of comic production company, so don't forget that part. And then inside, you're gonna have several different types and shape, sizes, numbers of panes for creating your graphic novel. There's a couple pages, you don't have to use all of them, but we did offer quite a few pages in here to create that novel. Some of the other supplies you're going to need is a pencil. You'll want to start with a pencil, and you can either go over it with a marker and some coloring pencils for shading. So next, from this point, I'm going to kind of go through the instructions and how to get you started in creating that graphic novel. And then from that point, you will sort of be on your own in making your masterpiece. Also, I will say something very helpful to use is a graphic novel. So if there's one that you love, I would grab it from home or here at the library, and you can definitely use that for reference. So if you're looking for examples on how to express yourself a certain way in your graphic novel, for example, here's what appears to be I think these are siblings because I've read this book, a brother and a sister. And do you see above them these characters? Those characters there indicate that she and he are yelling at each other, okay? And then do you see this question mark up here? Or I'm sorry, this exclamation mark up here? That is what she is thinking, while he is, what's in the text bubble is what he is saying, and that is what she is thinking. So I would definitely use a graphic novel that you love for reference to kind of figure out which, again, here's a sound. So writing that word, so that indicates what's happening in the background. It's a thunderstorm. So I imagine the boom is coming from thunder. This will definitely help guide you in creating those elements that you need so the reader is able to understand what's going on in your story. So next we'll talk about some of the instructions, and then you'll be on your own to create your masterpiece, and I look forward to seeing those. Okay, let's start with our graphic novel instructions. So this is our storyboard where we are going to determine what this graphic novel is going to be about. And even you can write notes on here to decide what kind of graphic novel. Are you going to do an adaptation of your favorite book or movie maybe? Adaptation meaning, are you gonna create a graphic novel about your favorite book or movie? It'll be kind of more of a summary. Are you gonna do something more like Dogman, something more like Sisters, or are you gonna create a manga graphic novel? So this is where you're gonna kind of decide that. So you're gonna start with a title. You may not know the title yet, but maybe you know your character. So you don't necessarily have to go in the order that it shows. You might know your problem first. So you start with your problem, and then you develop your characters, and then the rest of the elements of the story will fall into place. So I'm gonna kind of just put together a quick story here. I'm a librarian, so my title, you know what? I don't know what my title is yet. So maybe I'll start with the setting. That's gonna be the library. Okay, so I have my setting. My characters, I'm gonna make the main character me. So Miss Jessie. So I'm the main character, and then do I have a sidekick? Or maybe my title is The Library with No Books. Okay, so now I have my setting as the library, I'm the main character, and from those two, I developed my title, The Library with No Books. So from my title, I'm kind of starting to work into my problem. My problem is going to be that the library doesn't have any books. So what happened to the books? Were the books stolen? So the problem is the books from the library were stolen. Okay. My solution is, I guess, finding the books. Okay, so I just need a couple more characters to complete this. So I'm gonna have a sidekick because I'm gonna be sort of like a superhero. That's the awesome thing about creating your own book, is you can be the main character and you can decide if you're gonna be a superhero, or maybe you're the villain, or maybe you're the sidekick. So my sidekick is going to be Pete the Page. And then my villain is going to be, let's let's go with Sarah, the book snatcher. Okay, so you could see this can all come together pretty quickly. I didn't really have all these. I had an idea that I was going to write about a library, but this came together just starting with having all of these components and creating somewhat of a rough draft of a story. So now that I have this, I'm going to put that over to the side. You're going to keep that handy though. You want that with you. And I'm going to kind of start working on my my cover page. So here is where you will write your title. So my title is The Library with No Books. I would write that there. And then in this panel here, because it's your cover, you definitely want to make sure that you draw a picture that's going to kind of show the reader what is the story about. So you want to probably put the main character and maybe the sidekick or even the villain. All three of them can be in this picture, and then the setting of the story, and maybe even a word bubble off to the side that will show that what the story is about. Make sure you put your name there, or maybe you have a different name that you like to put there. This is the back cover. You're gonna make up some type of production, comic production company, because this is created by you. And then on the next page, this is gonna actually be folded in half. So it creates a book. So I'm just folding the cover in half. So here's your cover. That's going to go on the outside. And you could staple it or have a grown-up staple on the side here. But here is your cover. And you can take that off for now if you're not using it. And this is where you're going to start your story. And you can use as many or as few pages as you like to complete the story. This could be one page, and that could tell your whole story. So here is where you'll use these panes to sort of start with your introduction, going into with the setting and your characters, and then you're going to start developing your problem, and from that you'll start creating your solution and your conclusion. So one thing I will, I'm just going to kind of write this on the back, but just to kind of go through some information when you are writing your graphic novel is, remember that when you draw this line like this, that is a text bubble. So a text bubble is what somebody is saying. A person is saying that. I'm just drawing a person here. This is what they're saying. And then a thought bubble has the 3 dots, and then the bubble, and it could be like an exclamation point like we saw earlier, and that could indicate that the person is sort of excited about something, or really curious about something, or questioning something. So those are just some things to make sure you pay attention to. Also, facial expressions. So I'm just going to draw 3 faces here, and then sort of draw upside down. Okay, so here's my eyes and my nose. If I look like this, that shows the reader that you are happy. If I'm sort of looking like, I'm just going to draw the same eyes and nose, and then if your mouth is straight like that, you could be questioning something or confused. You could even do one that has, I've seen this too, sort of the wiggly line, and that could also indicate confusion, or maybe you're upset. And then obviously if the character is surprised or yelling, you could do the circle mouth. And here we could also do sort of a sad face, which would also indicate that the character is sad at the moment. So with that, I have some color pencils here, and my pencil just handy for when you finish your story. But with that, that will conclude the tutorial on how to create your graphic novel, and then you'll use the attachments so that you can do that at home. I look forward to hearing about your graphic novels, and know that they are going to be fantastic. Have a great day.